Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday to you. I'm Mellissa Thomas, your host for the FNN Politics and Power Series. And as promised last week, I did mention that this week we will be interviewing a Republican candidate for Florida House District 36, Rachel Plakon. So without further ado, I'm just going to bring her right on in and we can have the full conversation. You guys can learn a lot more about her platform and what she's running on and why she's chosen to run. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Mellissa, for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first off, obviously, that's the most obvious question. Why choose to run for Florida House, but for Florida House District 36?
Well, my family has always been involved in community service since I was a little girl. I remember people coming to our door. I never remember my mom turning anyone away. My dad was in the military, and both parents were involved in the local community and all kinds of projects all the time. And so to us, community service was a way of life. And so I see this as a continuation of that. When I was 11, I started an anti-drug program that was endorsed by the Florida Sheriff's Association. And this is just something I've been interested in and involved in my whole life as a way to give back. And when I was in college, I became the college Republican president. And I've helped other candidates throughout the years. And this seemed like a good time for me, an open door, as you will. And I felt called to do it. And I'm so glad I did. It's been a really fun experience. And I've been so glad to meet so many wonderful voters around our district here.
Awesome. And wanted to kind of piggyback a little bit on something you shared earlier. Obviously, you started young in terms of service. Kind of talk about what that journey has been for you, because obviously anytime there's kind of organizing or any kind of community work, there are a lot of moving parts. So kind of talk about what that experience was like for you. Was that something that you found fun? Was it something that you kind of pushed through? Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Well, I found it really rewarding, actually. I mean, my mom used to take me to the Florida Capitol and I would sing. My mom and I both used to sing together. And
Wow.
And I would perform either the national anthem or God Bless the USA. And I just was always around the process. And then we did a lot of music performances at the local nursing home. And so I've always been around our seniors and taught to really have an appreciation for them as well.
Awesome. And that's important. That's I'm glad that was instilled, because I was having a conversation with another individual who's running for Florida House that has that same heart for seniors, and I think that's something that's very important. There's a saying. I feel bad because I don't know the source of the quote, but it's, you can always tell a nation by the way it treats its seniors and its youth.
So true.
So very important. Wanted to get your thoughts on the governor's congressional maps very quickly. Obviously, the Florida maps changed as well. Like, this was the 10-year mark, and that was bound to change. But wanted to also get your thoughts on Governor Ron DeSantis choosing to, redraw his own maps despite the legislature having drawn one. But
the governor can, submit a map just like any other person can submit a map. Now, he does have the power of the veto, and we'll see how it all plays out in the courts. Right now, it's in state and federal court. It will probably most likely go to both Supreme Courts. And so I'm confident that they will sort it all out. And what I've also heard is that the Voting Rights Act conflicts with some of our state laws. So I think that's something else that they're going to have to sort through.
Got you. And ladies and gentlemen that are watching, please leave your comments below. You guys know I always invite you into the conversation. We love to keep that conversation going, and Rachel will join in too, kind of answer any questions you guys might have as well. Now, in the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. We're going to continue to dig in, learn a little bit more about Rachel and her platform, what she's running on, what she promises to bring the people of Florida House District 36. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
Welcome back to FNN Politics and Power. We are here with Rachel Plakon, who's running for Florida House District 36. So, Rachel, I wanted to get into the real estate stuff because I know one that is kind of your area of expertise outside of office, but also wanted to obviously talk about the special session that just ended. Like they just did some legislation on property insurance. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, the property insurance it's not just a crisis. From what I've heard, it's a collapse. And you've got 2 out of 50 something insurance companies that actually reported a profit last year. You've got about 80% of the litigation against homeowners insurance in Florida.
Yeah.
As far as compared nationally. So those are just astounding figures, and something had to be done. I think this is a good step forward, and I'm glad it addressed the trial attorneys, because I think that's one of the biggest problems creating this crisis. You've got contractors who team up with attorneys and send letters to people saying you may need a new roof. There was a hailstorm, when sometimes they don't need a new roof. And the insurance companies, all they can do is just give the roof, because sometimes it's more expensive to litigate this stuff.
True. Very true.
So we did address that, and I'm glad it did.
Awesome. And then kind of piggybacking off of that, kind of talk about the affordable housing crisis that we're seeing in Central Florida as a whole, not even just, the Orange County or Orlando area, even though we know Orange County, there's some 1,500 people moving to Orange County. I think every week was a statistic as of last year. But I would love to get your perspective on that and what you would like to see or what you feel needs to be done to address the crisis.
Well, Florida is a wonderful place to live and work. We have people coming here all the time. So we are growing, and we're going to have to meet the demand of our growing population. We do have a lot of vacant homes right now because of investors from Wall Street and other states that are buying here. But we can't control the market. We do have a free market. So we have to look at what's causing the huge price increases. And it's really a matter of supply and demand. And what we need is to bring the market back to an equilibrium. We need to create more supply. And so I remember Governor Rick Scott saying, now Senator Rick Scott, when he was governor, he never had any shortages during hurricanes because he would bring all the stakeholders and CEOs together that manufacture the generators and the supplies, and he would say, what do you need? And so I think that's something that we could incorporate into this housing crisis, and we could get developers together and say, what's preventing us from having more supply? And I think what we'll hear is an excess of regulation, and we're going to have to address that in the coming years.
Interesting perspective on that. What are your thoughts on sort of the inventory, if you will, like the space in which to build? Because at this point, it looks like a lot of what's going to have to happen is things are going to have to get built up instead of building outward. Because like there are a lot of spaces that are now starting to get a little bit overcrowded. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. And I think we'll also see more redevelopment as time goes on, because we do run out of land, and we do want to preserve some of our land, such as the Seminole County rural boundary. And so there's definitely have to have smart growth, and we have to find, that balance.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that. Just coming back to what you were saying earlier about getting to meet the voters of House District 36, what are some of the most common pain points that you've heard from them?
Well, a lot of parents want to make sure that they are involved in the care and upbringing of their children instead of bureaucrats in our school systems. And so it's good that the legislature recently addressed that. And I think parents just want to make sure that they have, the final say in everything. What I'm also hearing is a lot of pain at the pump. Inflation is a big crisis as well. And we can't really stop it here in Florida, but we can manage it. And a lot of it's caused by the federal government. So
to flesh that out a little bit, you're saying we can't stop it, but we can manage it. What are some of those ways that it can be managed here in the state of Florida?
Well, tax cuts, and also we've got to look at our state budget. We've got to look at salaries for our state workers, because now they have to be competitive with companies like Amazon. They have to be competitive with Walmart in increasing wages. So we have to look at that and make sure we retain state workers. And I know recently we had a correctional officer crisis to where we had underpaid correctional officers. We couldn't retain them. We couldn't keep them. And so I'm glad that they did get a raise, but we're going to have to look at a lot of industries to prevent them from collapsing as time goes on within our state government.
Right. And then lastly, before this next commercial break, kind of give our audience sort of that overview of your platform, those priorities that you're running on.
Well, I'm running on parental rights, inflation relief, and inflation management here in Florida, as well as more freedom. The federal government and the Biden administration is just overreaching into our lives. And so I want us to get back to constitutional values and what's important, and maintaining our freedom and holding the line here in Florida. I will stand with our governor. Our governor appointed me to a state commission, and I'm very proud to stand with him in all of the wonderful leadership things that he's doing for our state.
Thanks for that. And again, guys, leave your comments below. Leave Rachel any questions you may have, and we would love to bring those up and share those with her. You know, we love having that conversation with you guys. But we are going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Talk a little bit more about some important issues. And of course, you guys always know I like to delve into the person, not just the candidate or the elected official, but the actual person. So stay tuned for that.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a point.
My hand is clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
And welcome back, everybody, to the FNN Politics and Power Series here with Rachel Plakon. Thank you so much for being with us again, Rachel. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So wanted to touch on one of the key things that's listed on your campaign website is, of course, you're a lifetime NRA member. So I would be remiss to not ask you about your thoughts on the Texas school shooting that just happened and how it's impacted you personally.
Well, it's so heartbreaking. I mean, you see something like this and I remember growing up, I never had to worry about safety going to school as a child. And so first and foremost, my heart breaks for the families and the children that lost their lives, and the children that are left, they're going to have to deal with mental health issues from this. I think what we need to do is to move forward is focus on school hardening. We need more security in schools, obviously. But I don't think probably right now is not the time for politics and to talk about, gun control and those sort of things.
In terms of what you mentioned as school hardening, do you feel it's increasing the law enforcement presence, or do you feel that are you more on the side of arming like the teachers and administrators?
Well, I think law enforcement presence would be good. And I think teachers who so choose to be armed should have that opportunity.
Okay. And then one question I do like to present folks who have this belief is it ever a concern for you if, like, in the event that something goes wrong with the teacher that is armed? Like, I'll be honest with you, that is always a concern of mine in terms of arming folks that are not necessarily, like, law enforcement we get because they're trained for it. But in terms of teachers and administrators who are more so there to care for the kids, are you ever concerned about that safety risk?
No, because from what I heard in Florida, it's a school security officer that also teaches. So they do have training. And, I do worry about it. I have a daughter on the way,
right?
7 months expecting. And I think about that. I think about what kind of world is she going to grow up in, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that she feels comfortable going to school, and just doing something as simple as that.
And then kind of piggybacking off of that, this is more on the mental health side of things, but like, what are your thoughts on kind of taking a more preventive approach where that's concerned? Because bullying is something that is universal. Like, I think we all encountered some version of that growing up in school, but it seems like in the last decade or so, it's become a lot more difficult for the students to cope with it. So I wanted to find out, as a mom to be, how would you kind of go about strengthening your daughter, if you will, against what potential bullying she may face in school? How would you empower her?
I think simple life skills, learning what's important, who you are as a person. I'm a believer in Christ, so definitely want to instill that foundation within her. And I think that's important. I think a lot of our kids are victims of the breakdown of the family unit. And unfortunately, that's something that we just can't legislate. And but as a society, we need to look at what's going on with families. And, right now we have more single moms out there, fatherless homes. And so I think what we can do is create an environment that promotes marriage and promotes family unit. And what those specific solutions are, I'm not sure at this point, but we need to look at that.
Okay. And I was going to follow up. This is my last follow up with that. Obviously, the governor, want to say early May or in April, close to the end of April, signed the bill, of course, kind of focusing on fatherhood and supporting nonprofits that kind of feed into that, nonprofits that work with mentoring and things like that. So I wanted to find out, for you, as say you're elected to House District 36, is that something you would look into in terms of bolstering the nonprofits that would be in your district should you be elected?
Absolutely. I think it's always good when you work with nonprofits or the private sector, and just create the environment where they feel supported. Absolutely. Awesome.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Much appreciated. And guys, as you've been hearing over the course of the interview, Rachel is someone who is very deeply rooted in her Christian faith. You did hear her say about singing and music, so we're going to touch on that after the commercial break, because I found such a fun fact when I was doing some research on you on your website. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know that a lot of people know that. So want to touch on that. As I mentioned, guys, we always like to get into the candidate as the person, as the human being. So not just talking to politics and the brass tacks, but the actual human being. So we'll touch on her foray into music here shortly. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships, so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at FLAlottery.com.
And we are back with FNN Politics and Power. Thank you guys for sticking with us. And as promised, I wanted to talk to Rachel wanted to talk to you about your music. Obviously, this was something you were doing with your mom as a child, but I saw that you had a #1 hit song on the inspirational country music list. So kind of talk to our audience about that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Did that when I was younger, and was able to travel around several states on the East Coast and also Asia. I did a tour in Malaysia.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I always saw it as an opportunity to give back to the community and to inspire other people through music. My mom and I, as I mentioned, I grew up singing at local nursing homes and churches and festivals. And it was just always something that the family did.
Awesome. Is that something you're still going to continue to do? Because obviously, if once you're elected, it's a part-time job. So you kind of be bouncing between Tallahassee and other parts of Florida. So is that something you would continue to do?
Absolutely. You'll hear me sing the national anthem once in a while at events. And also, I had the opportunity during the COVID lockdown to partner with the Alzheimer's Association, and I did a statewide concert and sing along for Alzheimer's patients. And so I hope that I'll be able to get back to the memory care facilities as long as they feel that it's safe. And you'll hear me do other nonprofit music as well.
Awesome. You guys heard it here first, okay? Just hit us up when the album comes out. No, I'm kidding.
Been there, done that.
Very good. Very good. Wanted to talk to you about your motivations, things that keep you going on those days that are difficult, those days where you may hit a wall. There's some things that may not go your way. Like, how do you continue to press forward? And especially even in the context of a campaign, like it's not necessarily the easiest to campaign for public office. So kind of talk about what keeps you going.
Well, first and foremost, my faith in God. You always have to stop and pray if you feel like you are kind of tiring out or hitting a wall, and you got to learn to take care of yourself. I mean, very important. I'm 7 months pregnant, so I gotta know when to take a rest sometimes. But most of the time, it's hard to keep me down for too long because my husband and I are both, I guess you could say, we're workaholics, but in a good way. And we both share that. And so I walk in, several days a week for canvassing. And so it's hard to slow me down for too long.
That's actually good. The drive, that drive is actually very good. So yeah, keep it healthy though. You want to make sure that your daughter comes out as strong as possible.
Absolutely.
But so as we're wrapping things up now, I wanted to give you the opportunity, if there's anything that we haven't discussed yet that you want our audience to know, please feel free to share it.
Well, I just like to add, I am the business person in my race. I think right now with the economy the way it is, we need a business person and a strong business person. I started my first business in 2004, cleaning toilets and doing drywall. And, I built 2 successful companies. And so I'm going to take that grit into the Florida House should I have the opportunity to serve.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. And, ladies and gentlemen, her website is easy enough to remember. It's rachelplakon.com if you want to find out more, if you want to ask her any questions. And of course, you can ask your questions here at Florida National News as well, or at FNN News TV if you're following us on Facebook and YouTube. You want to put her website down there. That way you can take a look at that, find out anything else that you need to know about her. But Rachel, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here at FNN Politics and Power. We appreciate you, and we wish you the best of luck during your campaign.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And guys, that's going to do it for us here at FNN Politics and Power this week. Next week, we'll be coming to you with another candidate for office. Stay tuned for that. We'll make sure you guys have that announcement. It is midterm, so you're going to see a lot of that on the show coming up over the next few months as we head into the primary. So we want to keep you guys educated and updated. You guys know that is always the goal and the focus of our show. But again, if you want to catch us, you'll see all of our socials down below. Make sure you hit us up at FNN News TV on Facebook and on YouTube if you want to catch all of our live streams and any news updates. And of course, if you want to advertise, feel free to do that. If you are someone who wants to advertise, you're looking for another platform, we welcome you. If you're someone who knows somebody that's looking to advertise, please connect them with us. We'd love to have that conversation. We'd love to get started with all of you guys. But in the meantime, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to the FNN Politics and Power Series. I'm your host, Mellissa Thomas. Until next Thursday, take care.